Commercial UAV news always strives to have representation from across all sectors of the industry, but time and scheduling don't always work out, which is why I was pleased to be able to reach out to Dawn Zoldi, CEO of P3 Tech Consulting, and Kimberly Penn, Chief Strategy Advisor of Women in Drones, in a separate interview to talk about some ways that 2020 has helped women in the industry and what is in store for 2021. Hi, Dawn and Kimberly. It's great to have you here.
Good morning. Thank you.
And could you each introduce yourselves a little bit more and talk about what you do? Dawn?
Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. Dawn Zoldi here. As Danielle mentioned, I'm CEO and founder of P3 Tech Consulting. Our goal is to connect people with a passion for advanced tech platforms with the policies, plans, and programs they need to succeed. And so it's been a great year, and I'm looking forward to having this discussion with you all.
Great to have you here. How about you, Kimberly? Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Kimberly Penn. It's a pleasure to connect with everyone as well, virtually speaking. I am the Chief Strategist for Women in Drones, and my background is really related to risk mitigation and strategies, and so that's the skill set that I'm bringing that we'll discuss today as well.
Excellent. I look forward to discussing them more. And jumping into that first question, looking back at when we were in 2019, about to go into 2020, what were your expectations for this year? Did it look anything like how this year played out?
I would say that the introduction of 2020 was probably a game changer for everyone across the board, although not equally so. And so as Women in Drones entered into 2020, we really had a lot of really pivotal parts of our organization expanding, such as our membership for small businesses all the way to corporate opportunities, and a number of other strategies that we had to move over into webinars and things, again, that are pretty common at this point as we are coming into the last month of the year. So we have adjusted as quickly as possible because we are not the Titanic, so to speak. So we're able to turn and pivot, another catchphrase of 2020, but definitely some big surprises that we've adjusted to, listen to our membership, and certainly leading in the industry to be able to adapt as quickly as possible.
Fantastic. Dawn, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I have a lot to add to that. My experience, I think like most people, at the end of 2019, no one really saw what was going to happen in 2020, right? This pandemic that was going to impact us all. And frankly, at the end of 2019, I was just starting my business. I mean, my business is just a little bit over a year old. And so I had, big plans, big hopes, big dreams, and I, went in eyes wide open. In fact, Women and Drones were really one of my first clients. Sharon Rossmock hired me early on to look at their Women to Watch award initiative, which I know we're going to talk about here a little bit later, to give some thoughts and ideas on how to kind of kick it up a notch, to use Emerald Lagasse's term. And so, going into 2020, I was excited to work with Sharon, and I also had worked with Inside Unmanned Systems magazine, and started writing for them, and then the pandemic hit. And one of the big things I wanted to do, and maybe we're going to talk about this more, but one of my big things for really creating P3 Tech was to, as I said, connecting people, was to kind of build out my Law Tech Connect brand, which was not just my writing, but also having educational events, and in particular continuing legal education events, bringing lawyers to tech expos and conferences, and having a rich dialogue. When you think about diversity, there's many facets to it, and that includes just diverse perspectives of thought. And once COVID hit and everything went online, things started unraveling from a let's have a live event standpoint, and so my big event that was actually going to be tied to yours, Danielle, that kind of that peeled away. I decided not to go it alone because that was never my goal. My goal was always to connect those groups together. And so I'm hopeful that in 2021 and beyond that we're going to have that opportunity, but I decided not to take that remote. That was the big difference for me in 2020 that I didn't see. But kind of like what Kimberly said as well, though, as limiting as 2020 was with the remote operations, it was also liberating at the same time. Because, you know, all those little things that you don't think about, traveling to and from work, you know, when you're teleworking, now you've got all that time back and you have a lot more flexibility when you wake up, when you start working, when you work out, you know, and in my case, juggling at the time a federal job, day job, and then my business, and also teaching at night, you know, I had a lot of flexibility to get all that done, especially when you have no social life. Because the pandemic, you know, you couldn't go anywhere. So, you know, you were able to get a lot more things accomplished.
It's incredible. And it's also incredible that you do so many different things within the industry. And it's really exciting to think about 2021. So looking at, and it kind of goes back into, kind of preempted, looking at what happened in 2020, where are we with creating an inclusive and thriving drone industry?
I can start with that one, Kimberly, if you want. I don't think we're close, honestly. You know, you look at all the different platforms online, the different forums, and the panels that are out there. And so I'm going to quote, you know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg here. You know, at one point somebody asked her, you know, when will you be happy? When will we be at the point where, you know, the Supreme Court is equal? And she said, when every single person on the bench is a woman. And, you know, that sounds like such a radical thought, but when you think about it, for, you know, the entire history of our country, it's been all men until more recently, and no one batted an eye. And so my question to you, Danielle, is how many all women panels have you seen this past year? I can't actually think of one. And frankly, looking back on 2020, I'm somewhat to blame because I helped curate some content, and that's on me too. So going to 2021, that's one of my goals, is to, you know, walk the talk and, you know, be more inclusive and more deliberate in how I'm building panels and content, which people I'm quoting in my articles. And so, yeah, I think we have a long way to go.
To answer your question, we were able to host 2 all-women panels at Commercial UAV Expo this year in the virtual realm, and that was really exciting for me. There was an all-women UPS panel, and also we have our Women in Drones panel. I'm not sure if that counts because that's specifically about that, but it was great to see a panel that was all women, and it was a step in the right direction. I want to see more of that. And you also bring up a really good point. It's about changing how we're looking at who we're quoting, who we're putting up there. So thank you for bringing that up. Kimberly, you have anything to add?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. To Dawn's point, I think that we have great opportunity in the drone industry to learn some of the lessons perhaps the tech industry has demonstrated to all of us. You know, they've done some things right and some things that are definitely challenging and have probably limited the opportunity to be inclusive as well as innovative. And so as we have shifted from an emerging technology to things that are becoming more mainstream in the drone industry, women in drones particularly, we're inclusive. It is not strictly for women. We know that we have to have allies, and we know and we understand the necessity to have a diverse room, you know, but our focal point is how to create an environment that is extremely inclusive and diverse, such that we can capitalize on those type of opportunities. Again, I come from a tech background originally, and you know, over the 30 years that I have worked in that particular industry, you know, there's still in the very high 90-something% of all men. And so I think that with leaders such as Dawn and Sharon Rossmark, who's the CEO and founder of Women in Drones, and yourself as well, we can really be much more deliberate. And those are some of the initiatives that Women in Drone will be launching in 2021. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about that as we continue.
Hey, Danielle, if I could add one more quick thing here. You know, we talk about quotes, where you're quoting. I'm not sure if this quote was attributable to Kamala Harris or somebody said it about her, but the quote is, you know, make sure you wear shoes because there's going to be a lot of glass on the floor. And I absolutely love that quote. I mean, I think we would be, you know, we'd be missing out if we didn't really recognize the historical moment we're at also in our country, with a woman of color being the vice president of the United States. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to 2021 and stomping on some of that glass with Kimberly and Sharon and you, Danielle, and others. So thanks.
So am I. And so we're all hinting at 2021. So what are the next steps for Women in Drones in 2021?
The next steps is we have some really exciting opportunities that some of which are launching towards the end of this month. We have a career center that our members will have access to. And there's lots of organizations that have a career center. Our particular career center will really focus on a two-way relationship such that, of course, one can advertise opportunities, but we can also build out how you can become a drone operator. We have experts that are associated with our organization as advisors who can help you from everything from a business plan all the way up into some of the fiduciary responsibilities you may have, insurance, things to that capacity. And then, of course, some of our sponsors and other corporate members who are looking for drone operators or even a drone unit. And Women in Drones will also be offering some full service drone aspects as well. We're opening an academy, Women in Drones Academy, and this is going to be incredibly exciting. It's for STEAM and STREAM, which is the newer acronym related to STEM. And so we'll be working with school districts across the United States to help young people particularly, go through this academy. They'll earn a certificate. They'll include some soft skills, which is, of course, very important, so that they're able to do internships with other attendees of the academy, which will be from small business to corporate sponsors, so that they can have access to these young people. Everyone will have to earn this certificate in order to be the best environment, because we don't want to have this type of conversation 5 or 10 years from now that, the drone industry, for example, is still not as inclusive as we would and can imagine it to be. So those are some of the pieces that we'll be offering. We also have an e-magazine that is launching. And at this time, it'll be quarterly, but we know that as the demand continues to pick up, we'll make some moves related to that. And we're looking at podcasts and some of those other popular tools to stay connected with our members, but also invite others in the industry to participate with Women in Drones in such a way that we become, who you reach out to when you want to understand the drone industry, but also when you want to connect and deploy in the drone industry.
Yeah, and I'm working with Kimberly and Sharon and the Women in Drones team again on the Women to Watch initiative. So I wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk about that, because 2021 is going to be the 5-year anniversary of that award. And that award is really near and dear to my heart because I was a 2019 recipient of that award in the leadership category. And it was a complete game changer for me. It really made me step back and look and decide, that was really the catalyst to create my company. And, the sky is still the limit. I'm still aiming for that. And I look forward to working with the team, so we're still building out that strategy of what that's going to look like. So what I would say is stay tuned for what that will look like in 2021. There's going to be lots of opportunities for, award naming, corporate sponsorship, just getting involved in that award program, which is so important because, and I know, Danielle, we're going to give you the link and hopefully you'll be able to share the video. When you look at the women just that were award recipients this year, I mean, just mind-blowing the things they're doing, and this award gives them a platform. Let me give you one example. My successor in the Leadership Award, her name is Denise Susilo. She's from Switzerland. She has her own company called Outbright International, where they focus on using drones for humanitarian efforts. In fact, she led the operations during the African Drone Forum last year. She's a Yale undergrad and graduate school graduate. She was on the 206 German Olympic hockey team. I mean, these are just some of her credentials, okay? This is the caliber of person. She is a co-founder of her company, and they're doing amazing things. In fact, they're looking at diversity. They're looking at technology, just like Women in Technology International, WITI, is looking at digital inclusivity and how technology can actually advance diversity, equity, and inclusion. And she's focused on third world countries. So that's my shameless plug for women to watch. Like, please, please, please watch for us, because I will be very visible out there talking about this. But you know what? To nominate someone is free. And when you do that, you let that person know that you care, that you appreciate them, and just that alone is worth something. But if they actually win it, it is a game changer. At least it was in my experience, and I believe it has been for these other amazing women, like Jackie Jumachik out of Australia with Hover UAV, and Hitomi Umatsu, who's in Japan, who does drone swarm light shows. These are just some of the, Megan Salter, Kimberly mentioned education. Megan was in my class. She's doing amazing things at the elementary school level in West Virginia with drone education for little kids. The list goes on, and it's going to grow. And what I'm saying is keep an eye out, because it's going to be amazing. So with regards to P3 Tech, beyond Women to Watch, I'm looking forward to continuing my relationships with all of the various customers I had last year, including Inside Unmanned. And I've expanded, so I do a Law Tech Connect column for Inside Unmanned Systems magazine, which is a ton of fun. But I also now am doing the Washington View column for the Inside GNSS magazine, which has really expanded, really opened my aperture to spectrum issues and the political ins and outs of what's happening in DC in that arena. Really important stuff, GPS, and some conflicts going on with that. Just big announcements for me coming. I'm just throwing a teaser out there right now because I think it's a little too early. But once again, I'd say keep your eyes peeled. I feel like 2021 is going to be a really big year for me, and hopefully for a lot of other women too. So and men in this industry, because Kimberly used a term that I would like to use. We need allies. We need accomplices. And so I hope there's men out there listening. I hope you're looking at your own websites. You're running a diversity checklist against your own organization, and thinking, how can we be better? Because I know that's something I'm always trying to do, and I hope that everybody would do that as well.
I'd like to add to that, and again, congratulations to you, Dawn, on that award. It's something that is far-reaching, and it doesn't end when the calendar year ends, for example. Women in Drones, we're building that pipeline so that we are interacting with the K through 12 environment, more specifically the high school students, young men and young women, so that they can continue to grow professionally speaking, and so that we can not have, again, these types of conversations down the road, because they're going to be really used to working together and not looking at, appreciating the things that they have in common and the differences that they may have as they go about, navigating the educational system and transitioning over to the professional environment. And so we're really excited about that. So we're not going to wait for the industry to, help us with that pipeline. We're going to lead in that initiative. And we know that it starts really very much so with young people, and so that we can connect them, to small business owners, corporate owners, and things to that capacity in those type of environments, so that we build the capacity. And then we just have to continue to identify who the leaders are in that role. And we can have those panels that are all women, sponsored by perhaps all women-based drone operations and things to that capacity, and as we head and push them out into the federal fields and things, and even internationally, because we do have, international memberships at Women in Drones, and we'll be continuing to work on that. Where the demand is, we're going to make our best effort to fill it in accordingly. And that's a beautiful piece that we're very excited about as we head into 2021.
So many exciting pieces that are coming together, and the woman to watch scenario, just to go back to what you were saying, one of the things that you said, that both of you said, touched on, is education, as well as creating these game changing opportunities for women. And it's so incredible to see women in drones kind of stepping up and creating those game changing opportunities, not just for individuals who are doing amazing things, but also those for the next generation, because I think that's incredibly important. So thank you both for speaking with me today, and I'm looking forward to 2021 and everything that both P3 Tech Consulting and Women in Drones is going to be doing in the coming year.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.